Hi guys, happy Sunday with Satan. So, yeah, I did not sleep well last night at all. Very, very odd sleep. Just kind of outside of myself. A little bit, but I found some really interesting stuff that I thought you guys might like. The Red Dragon, White Dragon, the Book of Fate, and the Grand Grimoire. I thought this was pretty interesting, and the Red Dragon actually is where you can see Zozo. The word. Just the word. It has no other meaning, so don't overthink it. So here we go. And this is more traditional witchcraft, so. Alright, so the most obvious set of conditions which have the most profound impact on the mysterious moments, and a profound impact on every moment of your entire mind is the land itself. And right back into irony. When we talk about the land being so important, we are also talking about a collection of powers. So that is everywhere obvious and apparent. So how come that people completely forget to notice it? Okay, that was really really weird. So when you can answer the question, you'll be well off. It's not the land that excels in making itself invisible. It doesn't need to. It's confident by now that people largely won't see it at all. Alright, so we are getting into the land spirits. I love it. I love this. So, alright, and yet the spirit of every place, wherever you happen to be right now, is creating the atmosphere that your mind totally relies upon. You can't feel anything, think anything, perceive anything without the place, the location of perception, the location that you are a part of it. So the textures of the place, its sounds, its colors, its smells, its contours, its people, its buildings, all of these things are sorcerous things. I like that word, sorcerous things. So, and your senses are your connection to it, so it fills you constantly, and yet most people never give it a second of attention. So, it's interesting. So, right now, David Abrams says it best when he says, so, each place has its own mind and its own psyche. So, oak, madrone, Douglas fir, red-tailed hawk, serpentine in the sandstone. A certain scale to the topography. So drenching rains in the winter, that's what we're getting now, fog offshore in the summer, salmon surging in the streams. So all these together make up a particular state of mind, a place-specific intelligence shared by all humans that dwell therein, but also by the coyotes yapping in those valleys, by the bobcats and the ferns and the spiders, by all beings who live and make their own in the zone. So each place its own psyche. Each sky its own blue. Multiple dimensions, different dimensions, and that's what I'm picking up on that. So, this should be all you need to read to get out and really engage the spirit of your place wherever you are. So as you do this, as you open your senses fully to everything around you, you'll discover that you can slip over to everything inside you, too. Because in reality, inside and outside are parts of one unified realm of existence, and that's pretty interesting. I really like that. That's very interesting. So every time you make a real sensory connection with your environment, you unlock a spool of sorcerous inspiration that can make the authentic moment recognizable by you. So the place where you are itself can lead you down this sorcerous trail of whatever you need to find, discover, or accomplish. So whenever you need to do it, this is the most powerful secret of the sorceress art, and it hides, like all great secrets, in plain sight, in plain sound, in plain scent, in plain feeling. We can call them plain, just out of our reflex, even in our writing. But it says when I say plain here, I mean anything but. So in reality, every sight, every sound, every smell is the sorcerer's power intensifying itself in you, and you in it. So if you don't know this, If you can't retool yourself to experience it this way, sorcery will remain beyond your ability. So, literally taking everything in the everything around you. So, okay, so when you can open yourself to this new and very old way of seeing, you'll discover that every moment can be an authentic moment, of which we have spoken about before. So it's a matter of being inspired and seeing the secret beauty and wonder in everything at every moment. So it sounds tiring or hard, and it sounds like, such a thing might rob the sense of wonder from things, but I've found that it isn't, just the opposite. So the power of this strange world is infinite. It never gets old. Just as you can see the full moon rise 1,000 times or watch the sunset 1,000 times and never get tired of it, so we can tell that this about nature. This reality is a pool of infinity, and this is really inexhaustible. So this is a lot. I mean, that's very different. So, and when you can open yourself to this way of seeing, in conscious conjunction with your immediate surroundings, your environment, the land beneath you, and sometimes above you, and the kingdom of the winds we call the sky, you begin to move out from the central location of seeming body and begin engaging in reality in a very intense, broad way. So this is just opening yourself up to everything magical within life. Everything out there. It's interesting. So people talk about books of magic with some great respect. There's no doubt that our medieval and Renaissance texts about magic contain many treasures, despite its heavy reliance on Christian metaphysics. So the grimoire entitled the Arbitral has much to offer to the discerning witch, at least on the level of natural wisdom in dusty corners. So, but the entire conversation on grimoires becomes tiring quickly. Written words on dusty pages don't have souls, so the way spoken words animated by living wind do, and books stay the same. So while the souls who created them, change and fly away in the gust of death's wind. Interesting. Very interesting. So, the greatest grimoire is the legendary Grand Grimoire, and if you want to find it and its secrets, it contains of taming the red dragon and the white dragon. So you're fortunate. You're standing on it, or at least sitting on something that's in a building that's standing on it. So while many books may purport to be the Grand Grimoire, only one thing is true. Grand teaching book of sorcery. The only one thing is true is the grand teaching book of sorcery. Wow. Alright, so the red dragon is the body. It is the land. The white dragon is the great world wind. So it is the little winds that trace the meadows and hills, and it is your soul. So red and white are the two colors of the powers of nature, and entwined they create life and power. So they are also the two serpents intertwining the caduceus staff, one of the master's most ancient symbols. So they are the true prime forces of everything. The Grand Grimoire is the land itself. It is nature. The same book, precisely as the tablets of fate, or the book of fate, held and read by the Blood Mother, the ancestress of all life. So the lady below, the earth, and the earth indweller. So, that's pretty interesting. That's really interesting, actually. I like that. So, sorcery's deepest secrets are inscribed in the land. They are etched in the bark of trees, and they are announced in the gurgle of streams and rivers. So, learn to read these signs, or these things, and there's nothing that you can't know. So, the wind carries those sorceress secrets. The earth hides them in her bosom, and yet to eyes that really see, there's no real trouble finding them. So you'll have more troubles really using your eyes to their fullest potential than you ever will with generous nature revealing her treasures. That is really, really interesting. I like that. I feel blurry. For some odd reason. There. Wow. Yeah, I do look tired. Did not sleep that well. So, alright, so now here it says here, I can share with you a secret given away by nature, a spell. as it were, from the page of the Book of Fate, which is called the Book of Life and Death, really. So as I said, nature hides things, but to the eyes of the cunning she gives. So things are moving intensely in your experience every day, and they are chanting a song to you, reciting spells, offering you help. So, the way the sun and the moon appear to move on their ancient roads is one example. So poetry should rule these matters of course we know. Now that the sun just doesn't move, that it only appears to because of, the earth moves. But the deeper point in this perspective is what is real to each individual. Individuals have to deal with the story their senses are telling them, so they have to grasp it. The sun appears to move sunwise, diesel or clockwise, in the sky. So nature has brought about a situation in which the sun, the chief emblem of warmth, triumph, and security, appears to move in a way that humans can imitate. So, and taking the deep hint from nature, they have initiated in it since time immemorial. So they have turned right ways with the sun to bless, to protect, to cleanse, to purify, and to banish evil. It's very, very interesting. Very. So the moon follows the sun and sets like it. So the sun is ruler in the above world, the world of clarity and light. The moon is the ruler of the underworld, the world of murky surrealness and darkness. So that's how it looks to people, not in trances, of course. Now in the great reversal of trance, these two things are juxtaposed, and the moon takes the sky, and the sun becomes a radiance in the darkness below. So because the mind is thrust into the unseen by trance, so the mind radiates its mindful light in the unseen murk. Outwardly, the world becomes more indistinct, and not as illuminated. So the moon being in the formerly light-filled sky symbolizes this. So, in a weird way, every time the moon moves above, the sun dips below, is a trance of types. This is why night is the sorceress meeting time par excellence. I think that's why a lot of us come awake at night. We feel just like we're more awake, we have more energy, and I feel that way at night. So, but sun and moon are the great luminaries, the rulers of seen and unseen, and their right ways, motion and forces of right order, the existence of balance, and the vacancy of harmful powers. So, some powers can't be driven away by the sun, but they can be driven away by the moon, or forced into another state of being. Some powers can resist the moon, but they can't resist the sun. So any strong apotropic, working needs the power of sun and moon, of light and dark, of seen and unseen, to really be universally effective. So that's pretty interesting. I mean, these are really, really interesting. I don't know if I want to go into the rest of this, because I want to save some of this. But I mean, that is really, seriously intense. I mean, that is seriously pure nature, what nature is all about. Attuning to everything, even this really, really crappy day. So, a spirit trap governed by sun and moon. I do want to go into this. Okay, so here's one for you. It takes a bit of preparation work, but it's strong, very strong naturally. You won't ever do it the same way twice. So really not precisely, and you'll want to find the moment for the work that's just right. But certain aspects of this work are tied to certain events in the world. When you have workings that are tied to certain worldly events, you have a ritual. So ritual work can be sorceress. So if sorceress seeds grew it in the first place, and if it maintains the spark of life and imagination, that is required to really fill its sails with ghostly wind. And I think this one meets these qualifications. So here we have a spell covered by the sun and the moon. So for balance, light, dark, feminine, masculine, yin, yang, all of that. Now, on the day of the full moon, take an all-day candle outside and make a flame on it. Now, when the sun is high above and shining down strong, slip into the forgetting trance and speak with the soul of the sun. and the soul of the flame. Ask the sun for a portion of its great and awful presence. And using your breath, breathe some of the sun's power into you. More on this in a minute, and that's the heart breath. And breathe it out into the flame. Not too hard, lest you kill the flame. So then you put the candle away in a safe place and a sheltered place, because the flame must be kept burning all day to be used later for that evening. So it cannot go out for any reason. Any candle lit from it maintains the flame and the solar force, just in case you have to transfer the flame to another candle. So when the full moon of that day rises, take a fine silver vessel or crystal glass vessel, or an earthen vessel full of water. Clean well water works best. And sit it under the moon, shining down on it. Use your forgetting trance to speak to the soul of the moon and the soul of the water. Ask the moon and the terrifying and majestic queen below the earth, before whom all demons tremble, to bless the water with the power to command the harmful powers of night. So, then go inside of your house. Put a nice sized hunk of fresh bread in the center of a white or yellow triangle drawn of flour, and underneath the bread should be a piece of black linen or burlap, or some other kind of dark scrap cloth. So 3 true copper pennies next to the bread, and under that cloth a cord. It should be black, but yellow or natural color works too. So walk in a clockwise circle around the area with the bread and the rest of those things at the center of it. So this is best done in the main room of your home, or in the house you are working upon. So carrying the sun flame with you 3 times clockwise, and as you move, carrying this little sun, command all harmful spirits and demons and wicked powers that exist in or near this home, or who dwell in the bodies or souls of any present, or whose trouble those who sleep in the home, to enter the bread and copper before you, in the name of the soul of the sun, the majestic power of right turning. Tell the powers of the place that you offer this bread and copper to ransom the people who dwell in the house, and tell the powers that cause accidents and sudden strokes of ill fortune that if they are present, they must yield to the right turning power of the sun and enter the bread to feast there. Wow, that's pretty intense. I like this. So then place the candle down to the east and get the water. Carry it clockwise 3 times, and as you walk, make the same commands and requests as above, except this time in the name of the soul of the moon, and in the name of she, before whom all spirits shake in fear, and all demons tremble. So tell the powers that cause accidents and sudden strokes of all misfortune, that if they are present, that they must yield to the power of the moon and the queen who holds the keys of the world, and enter the bread to feast there. Sounds like La Santísima Muerte, a little bit. So, okay, then put the water down to the west, and to the west, and catch the bread and pennies up in the cloth. Now wrap them quick and start binding the whole mess with the cord which should be there. So bind it around 9 times if you can. Then quick as you may, take the whole bound bundle away from the home swiftly, and either take it to distant crossroads or to a running river, preferably one that runs in a direction from the home. And I have one of those. I like this. So, and either leave it at the crossroads or toss it in the river. Walk away without looking back. If any wicked power compelled by your work sees into your eyes as you walk away, it may return, especially with you. So the eyes are the gateway of the soul, after all. That's interesting. So, okay, as it is compelled by the sun, moon, and the terrifying one, it probably won't be at liberty to just go, and the crossroads or the river will force its way into the unseen with great and final force. So if you have neither crossroads or a river or good stream to use, you can bag the bundle in the branches of a distant and large oak tree, or bury it in sand or mud, somewhere as far from your home as you may. A nice bog disposal never hurt either. So it says here, I would do this. I don't care, Target, stupid emails. Alright, so it says here that I would do this once a month if I were you. It's more than just about spiritual protection. It's also about being protected from accidents and disasters around the home. So the kinds that can kill people or maim them. So the same powers that cause accidents around the living area can follow you and cause them in the rest of your world too. So this working borrows the two right moving celestial powers and binds and vanishes with them. A simple work taught to anyone who can see the sky with sorceress eyes. So it says here, I always use the copper coins because they are Venetian in nature. Venetian. So attractive and seductive to spirits, and they offer blessings from the greatest of enchantresses herself. But they aren't strictly necessary. Just the bread and cords and cloth would suffice. So, in lieu of copper coins, fresh rose petals might be nice. So would fresh rosemary. Anything you can think might bait this spirit trap well. So this is pretty interesting. I like this, and I'm going to use this. So, rituals are odd like this. Where'd I go? If you are really engaging the proper moment in that inspiration, things can happen that you don't expect. Even this ritual may go like you'd expect. So long as the sun-touched fire is there and the moon-filled water is in the right, as long as they make diesel circuits, is all is well. So this is one of the workings. I read off the pages of the Grand Grimoire, and I am very pleased with it. And there are countless more. Right, so that's pretty interesting, the Grand Grimoire. So this work is a ritual, as it was just said, because it is tied to the occurrences of the full moon, the ultimate authentic moment that makes it possible. It can't occur except when the moon is full. So the moon's own ancient cycles anchors this sorcery into a ritual form and makes it less wild than any forms of sorcery. So it says I've spent a good bit of time talking to you about how unpredictable and unrepeatable sorcery was, and then immediately taught you a form of sorcery. But that seems rather measured and repeatable. So sorcerer's irony again, but this is a ritual sorcery. So, as I have said, and thus tied to some repeating aspect of nature, which, though it repeats, maintains the infinite depth and inexhaustible power of nature. So, not all sorcery will be this way. So, this person says, in my own life, most isn't. Most seems the plan itself happening suddenly without me realizing it was about to happen. Alright, but there's something else that needs to be mentioned about this. So, something dark, something disturbing to most. So every act immediately invokes its opposite. This is true for non-sorcerous acts, so as if it is for sorcerous ones. So, and this simple fact is deep as a bottomless well. You never truly know all of the ultimate outcome of sorcery. And because the weird of this world is like a very deep and murky pond, for everything seen, I have said, 9 things are unseen, and casting a rock into a pond, singing it to the depths, can provoke unseen changes deep below. There's a hint of danger here. On top of this fact, this is the magical and sorcerous reality of transference, a fact of life and sorcery that has been present in the mystical life of humans since the dawn of human cultural time. Wow, that's interesting. That's very interesting. So really, literally, transference is a topic that is so very, nuanced and complex that I can't cover in detail here. But I can say this: malevolent spiritual powers trapped in the above described spirit trap aren't destroyed by your trap. They are transferred to it, and thence to someplace else, washed somewhere by a river, scattered somewhere onto someone. At a crossroads, they can be transferred to a tree, to the winds that blow through the branches, into spirits in the ground, to deeper places in the unseen. But still, they go somewhere. Ooh, so that's kind of, very different. So, okay, can you be certain that your ill fortune, banished from your house, won't become someone else's ill fortune? Ooh. So, you can't be certain of that. And according to the beliefs of ancients, as a part of Brazil and Scotland, transferred powers almost certainly always go to someone else, human or non-human, and discharge their malevolence onto them. They find someone or something who is too weak to resist them. They find new homes and discharge their malevolence there. I can't tell you that this always happens personally, but I think it does. It often does. So life in reality is a system. It is fully connected interaction system of massive proportions. Ripples in the pond of life, and always have to go somewhere and affect everything else. So, a little different. So, does that change your opinion of this simple but effective sorceress working that was just described, or sorcery in general? Does it help you to understand why witches in the past, though valued by some, were feared by many or most? So I don't think it was the witch they feared as much as it was the sorcery, the magic, strange, unpredictable, and there was always the dread that something bad would or could happen to them, which might not have happened otherwise, had the witch not been around. Wow. So, alright, these are important questions, to ponder. And it says here, I hope you will. You never perform sorcery in a vacuum. Everything is affected by it, so often in many unseen ways. If you could see the full impact of a sorceress activity, you would certainly have a new respect for it, a new awe, and a new hesitation that you might have not felt before when you utilize it. This is another branch of the game of power. That begins to challenge everything that you thought you knew before. Are you still going to play? Ooh. So, what looked like a good working, a protective working, can now seem like an evil one, a dark one that comes with a cost. Well, get used to it. Aside from the omnipresent reality of moral ambivalence that surrounds all sorcery, comes the reality of the hidden cost of it. So, they say nothing's free, and as usual, they are quite right. So nothing is free. Nothing. That's interesting. That's really interesting. So I do like this. And I think that's pretty interesting to kind of just leave off there. So yeah, what do you guys think? Does that change your perspective on anything? On any kind of magic, on your sorcery, on anything that you do, your spells, anything? I find it very odd. So, I'm gonna have to get that book. But, alright guys, I love you all very much, and thank you guys for watching. And I will see you guys tomorrow. And yeah, everybody, the new year is coming, so I hope you guys have a great happy new year. I love you all the way from Venus, all the way back down. And I will see you guys tomorrow. I can never get my heart right. There we go. So, alright guys, I love you all, and thank you guys for watching.